Welcome back everybody to episode 12 of our programming series. We're going to be talking about passing by reference and passing by value to a function. And what I mean by this is when we have a function that has at least one parameter, then we're going to pass at least one argument when we call that function. So you can see that here. We have a function called print with the parameter a, and it's of type int, so we need to pass an integer variable or just integer data to that function call. So you can see we do that with a variable set to 2 and it's called myInt. So the difference between passing by value and passing by reference is when we pass by value, our argument will not be affected by whatever happens in the function. So you can see we have myInt equal to 2 and we pass it. Now when a, the parameter, gets 1 added to it, our argument that we passed in will not be affected, so it will remain 2. So let's go ahead and run this code. So how we're going to do this is with the command prompt, we'll change directories to our file location. So there we go. And now we're going to use the MinGW compiler. So we'll do g++ -c for compile, and we'll pass in the name of the file. So there we go. Now once this finishes, we'll see that there is a object file in our actual folder here. Okay, there we go, and you can see there's our object file, which we've talked about before. Now what we're going to do is basically do the role of the assembler here and do g++ and then object file, and then we'll give the name of whatever executable we want. So I'll just say runme.exe, and then we'll pass in the object file. There we go, and this will create an executable, and you can see it's right here. So we'll go ahead and run this from the command prompt. So we'll just type in the name of the executable, and you can see we have a bunch of different things. So myInt, before we pass it to the function call, is 2, and we can see that here in the code, it's 2. And then we pass it to the function as 2, and then in the function we are adding 1 to the parameter a, which takes the place of myInt. So that is now 3 because we added 1, and then myInt back in the main is still 2 because we passed by value. Now on the other hand, if we pass by reference, and how we do this in C++ is simply putting an ampersand between the type and the name of the parameter for both the declaration and definition. Now if we save this and compile it again, so we'll just call those same functions here. So there's 1, and then once this finishes, we'll do the object like that, and then we'll run this again and we'll see the difference. So now you can see down here, myInt back in the main is now 3. So that's the difference between pass by value and pass by reference. With pass by reference, whatever we pass to the function, whatever happens to the parameter in that function will happen to the original argument as well. So you can see we passed myInt as 2 and a got 1 added, so did myInt. Let's talk about why this actually happens. So we have memory here, which is a bunch of wires that are on or off. And then in our program, we create a variable of type integer, which has 32 bits in it, and we call it myInt. Then we give it the value 2, and we store it onto memory. And let's just say it's at the memory address 1000. So because it takes up 32 bits, it's going to be from the memory address 1000 all the way to 1031. Okay, so now with passing by value, when we pass it to a function, we're going to create a copy of that actual variable that we're passing as an argument, and this is going to be our a, and we're going to literally get the value from the memory address 1000, and that's 2, so we put 2 in there, and then we save a to a different place in memory. So this would be let's say memory address 1032. So now when we change a like we did in our program, myInt won't be affected because it's stored at a different address in memory than a. Now on the other hand, with passing by reference, what we're going to be doing is actually passing the memory address location. So when we pass myInt to the function, what it's going to do is instead of passing the value stored at 1000, it's going to pass the actual memory address to the function. And then whenever we change this variable a from 2 to 3, it's going to be stored back into the memory address 1000. So then myInt will also be changed because it's also at 1000. And that's the difference between pass by reference and pass by value.